This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening, everyone. Tasmania is standing to lose the equivalent of its police force if proposed changes to GST distribution are followed through. That's the latest warning from the Treasurer today, fighting to keep the current tax carve-up in place before a public inquiry.
A waiting game for the Treasurer, preparing to take his fight for the current GST carve-up straight to the Productivity Commissioner.
The same system has been used by the Commonwealth Grants Commission since 1981. Equalisation across the country to ensure that an equal level of services can be provided to Australians.
A draft report by the Commission suggests tweaking the goods and services tax distribution, an inquiry sparked by pressure from Western Australia claiming the system is unfair. WA handed 34 cents for every dollar taxed, compared to Tasmania's $1.80.
WA is an outlier. At the end of the day, they wreck their budget. They shouldn't have the opportunity to take from us to try to fix the mess that they created.
Other states which have different outcomes, which have to put into the pot rather than draw from it, obviously see things differently.
Top economist Saul Eslake says there is case for change, but rather around how GST handouts are shaped and how the cash is spent. Tasmania currently standing to lose up to $1 billion in revenue.
And it would have to either double state taxes or cut spending by 20% or some combination of those two.
There is no doubt that if any changes to the redistribution were to occur, it would be the most disadvantaged in Tasmania that would be impacted the hardest.
One of the options would mean that we wouldn't be able to fund our police service. Quite simple as that. Around 40% of our nurses.
Options Labor says should never need consideration.
Well, if the Tasmanian Federal Liberal senators had stood up, the Prime Minister may never have called this inquiry. The Prime Minister's doing a lot of backflips lately. Perhaps he could backflip on this GST inquiry as well.
The final report is due in January. Jacqueline Robson, Southern Cross News.
A 21-year-old woman is in a critical condition in the Royal Hobart Hospital after the car she was in rolled on King Island late last night. The incident occurred near the island's main town, Curry, on North Road at around 10 o'clock. The woman was one of 3 passengers in the RAV4 at the time. All involved were in their early 20s. The other passengers were treated for minor injuries at the King Island District Hospital. Police have been flown to the island to investigate the crash. It's believed alcohol and inattention were contributing factors. A Tasmanian man accused of murdering his neighbour by shooting him in the back of the head last October claims he and his partner had been verbally abused by the now deceased for years. 66-year-old Lotta man Kerry Alexander Bilston is standing trial in Launceston's Supreme Court after he pleaded not guilty to the murder charge. Our reporter Monika Dadson has more.
Jurors were today shown a police interview recorded with Mr Bilston just hours after he was arrested. The 66-year-old confirmed he did shoot Mr Manshandon at Lotta on October 15 last year, but he said he didn't intend to actually hit him. The court heard the neighbours had been in an ongoing dispute about land boundaries and even had police visit their properties 2 days earlier. The accused claiming he and his partner couldn't go into their front yard without being yelled at by Mr Manshandon, and they were so frightened they were in the process of moving. Jurors heard on the day of the shooting, Mr Manshandon was allegedly burning trees at the back of the adjoining properties. Mr Bilston said that's why he went to confront him. He said he grabbed his shotgun, loaded with a solid slug for protection, telling police, "I thought if worst comes to worst, I'd fire out into the air. When he saw me approaching, he started abusing me. He started laughing at me. I felt very angry. I lifted the gun up with the intention to go bang above his head, but unfortunately I hit him." The accused told detectives he was aiming a couple of feet above Mr Manshandon's head when he fired. When detectives asked why he was aiming so close, he replied, "I keep asking myself that now, I just don't know." The trial will continue until at least Tuesday, with 4 more witnesses to give evidence.
Tasmania's most selfless individuals and outstanding human rights organisations have been recognised at a ceremony in Hobart today. Around 100 people attended the event hosted at Parliament House, which aims to promote Tasmania's contribution to human rights. There were 30 nominations for the award.
It reflects the fact that Tasmania as a community is sort of keen to sort of promote the right to live in a world that is respectful and has dignity for all Tasmanians.
It's very important. It's acknowledgement of the students, the hard work they've done over a number of years in support of Timor-Leste, in support of Mary McKillop International and in support of funding their teachers into the future.
Today marks the start of Human Rights Week. Significant rainfall is expected across the state over the coming days, offering a short reprieve to drought-affected farmers. The Weather Bureau says it's expecting up to 100 millimetres of rain in some areas, but there's no reason to give up on summer just yet, with hotter than average temperatures expected for the next few months.
It's not the sort of weather you'd expect on the first day of the summer season, and it doesn't look like it's going to ease up anytime soon, with 50 millimetres of rainfall expected statewide over the next 3 days.
And there'll be some places that will have had 100 millimetres possibly. So a fair degree less than what they're expecting in Victoria, but nonetheless some useful rain.
The Huon and parts of the South and North Esk River are on flood watch, but it's not expected to mirror last year's catastrophic floods. But this rainfall, linked to Victoria's extreme downpour and a rare weather event La Nina, will provide little relief for farmers in drought or lower the risk of bushfires.
A slightly wetter than average December will not turn around the rainfall deficits that we have on the East Coast.
It will bounce back quite quickly if we didn't get follow-up rainfall, so it would be a short-term fix, not a long-term fix.
The wet weather is predicted to continue over summer, but for those looking forward to spending their break at the beach, it's not all bad news.
Heading into this summer, it does appear that it's most likely to be in above average temperatures for summer as well.
Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
And with summer now officially here, community members in Launceston are joining forces to make the city a safer place ahead of warmer weather. The citywide safety campaign has been launched in a bid to make the city a family-friendly area for residents and visitors, especially around pools and parks.
Not just about safety as such, but also perceived safety, which is very important for a lot of people in our community. If they don't feel safe or think they're not going to be safe, then it's an issue and people won't go out and enjoy themselves. So it's about committing and working together how best that we can resolve the issues that are out there.
Members of Tasmania Police, the Council and Education departments all signing off on a charter promising to keep the city safe. A woman remains in a serious condition tonight after being involved in a two-vehicle crash on High Street in Launceston this afternoon. Emergency services also working to free a child from the car who wasn't injured. And it was a lucky escape for the driver of this Holden V8 ute travelling north on the southern outlet into Launceston this afternoon. Police were forced to close one lane of the highway, causing traffic delays. No one was injured. Tonight, we can give you a sneak peek at progress so far of the Peppers Silo Hotel. Developers say construction is on track as the countdown looms for the official opening in just 5 months' time.
It's set to be big, bold and beautiful. Boasting top-of-the-range fittings and fixtures, these silos will soon aim to provide a 5-star experience for locals and tourists. This is the bottom floor, featuring a public restaurant, deck, conference centre and bar.
We've got to make it very much public, not a public place. If it's a public place and the public use it, it'll be very, very successful.
Upstairs will include 108 rooms, ranging in size and price.
The top rooms are going to be the best rooms. They'll be single barrel rooms, so there are 100 square metres, those rooms on the top. So we think we'll have a pretty good product.
Mr Stewart says the last few weeks of dry weather have helped push construction forward.
Just about every day you can do nearly anything, you know, that means lift panels, lift concrete in the air. You can have people going everywhere and doing everything because there's no restrictions.
Timber has been recycled, stone brought in, and the curved shape of the silo barrels utilised in every space. Mr Stewart says around $25 million will be injected into the Tasmanian economy by the end of the build. Despite the budget being tight, construction is expected to be completed by April next year.
Obviously everybody would like to be able to build for less, but it's a quality building, and if you want to get a quality building you've got to put the money in.
Jessica Moran, Southern Cross News.
Well, Princess Mary and her family will celebrate the festive season down under. The Danish royal family has confirmed the princess, her husband Crown Prince Frederik and the couple's 4 children will spend Christmas with Mary's family in Tasmania. The Hobart-born royal last brought her family to Australia in 2015 but hasn't visited her home state in 6 years. A Tasmanian politician has battled the elements today, beginning his walk from Perth to Hobart, raising money for St Giles. Mark Shelton says the cause is close to his heart, with the charity providing assistance to his family and grandson with Down syndrome.
I know through first-hand experience what a marvellous job St Giles do, and so anything I can do to support them, I will.
With multiple pairs of shoes and dry clothing in tow, Mr Shelton is aiming to push through the rainy weekend and walk on average 50 kilometres a day. He's halfway through his fundraising goal of reaching $10,000. Items like toothbrushes and old x-rays can now be recycled in a Tasmanian first. The Hobart City Council introducing a recycle centre for tricky items, including old electronics. The initiative is part of the zero waste to landfill strategy.
Of making sure that we reuse where possible and make sure that things don't end up in the tip on the tip face.
Unwanted items can be taken to the Hobart Council Centre or McRobbie's Gully Waste Centre in South Hobart. A car has crashed into a child's bedroom in Lutana after slipping down an embankment this afternoon. This tow truck worked to pull the car out of the house, but luckily no one was inside at the time. The driver sustained minor injuries. Police are urging motorists to slow down, put their headlights on and drive to the conditions. Tasmanian men will be a little less hairy, with today marking the end of Movember. A number of gruelling challenges, including the Point to Pinnacle, helped the Mobar Mobros achieve their target.
3 years running, we're the highest fundraising team in Australia for Movember. We're on 95 grand today, hoping to reach our target of 100,000. But what a month, what a team.
The Mobros first started just over 10 years ago, raising money for men's health. Now let's take a look at the day's business and finance news with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The Australian share market has closed higher, led by the healthcare and energy sectors, while the under-pressure banks ended steady after rebounding strongly in the morning session. The ASX 200 index has risen by 19.9 points. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 75.64 US cents and 63.43 euro cents.
The state's Commonwealth Games hopefuls have received a leg up with 70 Tasmanian Institute of Sports scholarships awarded in Hobart this morning. And for our best medal prospects, it could mean the difference between finishing on or off the podium in April.
One of 11 first-time recipients for weightlifter caddy Facina, the scholarship means less to worry about at a crucial time in her career.
It's obviously given me a lot more support now, so I'm getting a lot of some financial support. Also, it's quite nice just to feel recognised and makes just training feel a bit more important now.
Facina finds out in 2 weeks' time whether she'll be heading along to the Com Games. If so, she should prove one of the state's best medal hopes, given some stellar results this year.
Yeah, so looking at results at the moment, I am sitting second in at the Commonwealth, so definitely a podium is something I'm definitely looking out for.
No stranger to the program, javelin thrower Hamish Peacock was one of 55 high-performance recipients as he prepares to battle the world's best on the Gold Coast.
Yeah, I'll be aiming for gold at Com Games. It's pretty stiff in the Commonwealth. We've got former Olympic champion and world champion.
Runner Dion Kenzie is coming off the season of his career, which saw him clinch 1500-metre gold at the World Para-Athletics Championships in July. He says much of his success wouldn't have been possible without the scholarship program.
it's just really the 1%ers that really get you to that next level, and I think that's what the TIS has really enabled me to do over the last couple of years.
We're always told that Tasmanian athletes turning up into national environments are always very well prepared. They're very knowledgeable about how to operate.
Around 12 Tasmanian athletes are expected to be selected for April's games.
New Hobart Hurricanes import Veda Krishnamurthy says she was so keen to play for the side that she signed on without even looking at the contract. While Matthew Wade will also be in purple for the upcoming BBL season after a last-minute trade today with the Melbourne Renegades for Bo Webster.
The Canes opener against the Strikers on December 9 will be Krishnamurthy's first taste of WBBL cricket.
The BBL is something really big out here, and I really wanted to be a part of it, just to have an experience.
And the Indian slugger says it was a no-brainer when approached by the club.
I mean, there was just a yes from my side without even asking what the contract was, because I just wanted to just be here and have fun.
We're hoping that she'll be that middle order destroyer for us and a big hitter. And she's also bowled some pretty handy sort of spin little offies and leggies, she tells us, so she can do a lot of things. So we're really excited about what she can bring for the team.
Krishnamurthy is one of 3 internationals in the side, along with English batter Lauren Winfield and West Indian all-rounder Hayley Matthews, who recently arrived in the state ahead of her second season with the Canes.
Looking at the team, I think we have a really good squad. We've gone into the semi-finals the previous 2 years, and I think we do have the firepower this year to just push it one step further.
Meantime, a last-minute BBL trade announced late this afternoon will see keeper Matthew Wade playing for the Canes this season, with a club to send all-rounder Bo Webster to Wade's former club, the Melbourne Renegades, in a clean swap. Both are preparing for Sunday's Sheffield Shield clash against New South Wales at Blunston.
Had a really good win in South Australia. A lot of good performances from the boys, so they're looking to take those good performances into the last game, and the guys that missed out are keen to get some runs also.
Meantime, more Tasmanians are taking up basketball, according to the latest participation statistics, which show a 36% rise in registration figures over the past 12 months.
Probably 6 or 7 different areas. Exposure in the game at the national level, the guys in the NBA, great exposure for the sport. The work we've done in our structures is starting to bear fruit, which is really good.
All 10 basketball associations across the state, including the newly formed Launceston and Kingborough-Huon, reported strong gains.
Good evening. Cloud and rain took over the state today. Hobart reached a top of 23. It was 22 in Launceston, 20 degrees in Devonport and 19 in Burnie. 28 degrees was the state's high recorded at Friendly Beaches. It was 27 at St Helens, 21 at Maria Island, 20 at Lowhead, Grove and Bushy Park, and 16 at Strawn and Lyowini. Looking to the clouds now, extensive middle and high-level cloud with a frontal trough system covering Tasmania and extending through central Australia, and some isolated thunderstorms present throughout that trough. Closer in, you can barely see Tasmania under all that cloud. Tomorrow, the chart shows a trough through the Tasman linking to a low-pressure system developing near the Victoria and New South Wales border. South to southeasterly winds 20 to 30 knots, reaching 35 knots at times about the northeast, seas mostly 2 to 3 metres. There is a flood watch current for the North Esk, South Esk and Huon catchments, a gale warning from Flinders Island to Wineglass Bay, and a strong wind warning between Low Rocky Point and Flinders Island, as well as from Wineglass Bay to Tasman Island. A rainy day for Hobart tomorrow, 14 the top, Medina a shower or 2, 14 also, Oatlands showers 12. Launceston showers becoming windy, 19 degrees, a shower or 2 for Devonport, 20, Lyowini 11. Showers for Burnie with a top of 20, Strawn a possible early shower 19, Marrawa showers 17. St Helens rain increasing 15 the top, Swansea and Orford both expecting rain with a top of 14. UV extreme 11s and 12s across the state. Looking ahead to Sunday, we've got rain expected in the northeast with showers elsewhere contracting to the south in the evening. A mostly fine day on Monday with morning coastal showers in the south. And Tuesday, fine aside from afternoon showers in the west and northwest. A sunny day for Perth tomorrow, possible storms for Darwin, rain for Sydney and showers for Brisbane, Adelaide and Melbourne. And here's a look around the state, 14 and rainy in Hobart currently, and it's cloudy and 19 in Launceston and Devonport. And it looks like it's going to be a bit of a wet weekend, Jo.
It certainly does, doesn't it, Brett? Oh, well, good for the farmers. Thank you very much. And that is all from the news team for now. Thanks so much for your company. We will, of course, see you throughout the evening with updates. Have a great night. Bye for now.